All right, good afternoon. The time is 12 o'clock, and I'll call this regular meeting of the Copperas Cove EDC to order. Mr. Afaji will lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
If you would join me. Father, thank you for this wonderful day. Please guide us and be here with us as we make the decisions for both our city and our country. In your name and grace, we pray. Amen. Amen. American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
All right, Brittany, will you call the roll, please?
Joey Afaji.
Here.
Jonas Titus.
Here.
Adam Martin.
Here.
Jeremy Tate.
Here.
Jay Jackson.
Here.
Diane Drussel.
Looks like we're all here. Any announcements today?
Yes. All right, on Thursday, July 25th, there's a business after hour mixer from 5:30 to 6:30 at BKCW Insurance. Saturday, July 27th, Keep Copper Cove Beautiful is hosting a pancake breakfast fundraiser at Applebee's. Saturday, July 28th, 2019, Fly a Kite from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Ogletree Gap. And Saturday, August 10th, 2019, you have the Classic Bike Ride Tour from 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. At the First Baptist Church. And that is all.
Thank you. Also wanted to big congratulations to Brittany Sanders, who is our new EDC specialist. Big promotion. Very
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay. Moving on to Citizens Forum. At this time, citizens will be allowed to speak on any matter other than personnel matters, matters under litigation, or matters on the regular agenda for a length of time not to exceed 5 minutes per person. 30 minutes total has been allotted for this section. Is there anyone wishing to speak at Citizens Forum today? Seeing none, we'll move on. Consent agenda. All matters listed under this item are considered to be routine by the EDC Board of Directors and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Item F1, consideration and action on approval of minutes for the workshop meeting held on June 25th, 2019. And item F2, consideration and action on approval of minutes for the regular meeting held on June 26th, 2019. What is the desire of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve items F1 and F2.
All right, motion for approval by Jeremy.
I'll second that.
Second by Joey. Is there any additional discussion on this item?
None for me.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Looks like we don't have a public hearing, any public hearing items today, so we'll get right into our action items. Item H1, consideration and action on authorizing the release of funds to the City of Copperas Cove for charges to the CCEDC for services rendered as agreed upon by various city employees for the month of June 2019. Velia Key, Director of Financial Services.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. The invoice is in the amount of $476.06, and that is for 7 hours and a half work by the finance staff and 2 hours work by the IS department. Does the board has any questions regarding the charges?
No.
Any questions? What is the desire of the board?
And I may move to go ahead and approve item H1 as read.
Motion for approval by Joey.
And I will second that, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Jay. Is there any additional discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Item H2, consideration and action on approving the unaudited financial reports of the Coppers Cove Economic Development Corporation for the month of June 2019. Bellicky.
Thank you, sir. So the highlights for the month of June, we have 2 payroll runs during the month. They were on June 14 and June the 28th. As of June the 30th, the EDC has $6.2 million invested in their portfolio. It was allocated of 11% to the operating account and 89% to the textbook account. So if we compare where we were last year, we were at $5.5 million, and the allocation was for the operating of 7.8% and for the textbook of 92.2. The difference between that it increased from the prior year is in the amount of $694,308. That's the increase in the portfolio. Next, we go over the year-to-date total revenue exceeded expenditures by $729,751. The total allocation received from the city was in the amount of $103,000. The interest that it was earned was in the amount of $11,232, which brings a total expenditures for the entire month of $41,322. We had 30 disbursements during the month. They were all within budget and approved by the board, either by contract or during the budget process. We started with a $5.7 million of beginning fund balance. As of 9 months into the year, since this is as the third quarter of the year, we have expended a total of $339,721 year to date, bringing a $6.4 million in ending fund balance. Are there any questions about any specific invoice or any items in the financials that I might be able to answer at this time?
Any questions?
No.
No, sir.
What's the desire of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve the unaudited financial report of Coppers Cove Economic Development Corporation for the month of June 2019.
Okay, motion for approval by Jeremy,
I will second that, Mr. Chairman.
second by Jay. Is there any additional discussion on this item?
None for me.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Item H3, consideration and action on authorizing the executive director to enter into an agreement with Weaver and Tidwell LLP for the 2019 fiscal year audit. Velia Key.
Thank you, sir. So it is that wonderful time of the year again when we are gearing up for audit season. We received the engagement letter, and Weaver will be, the fees would not exceed $8,500, meaning $8,500 for the financial audit of 2019. We received a tentative schedule that they will be performing the planning phase of the engagement in the last week of September. And the field work will start in the first week of November, which means that we will have exactly 45 days to close the books. And finalizing the audit during the month of December and bringing it forward for approval during the month of January or early February. So we are just trying to bring everything forward. Usually the audit is presented during the month of March, and shortly after that, we present the EDC. So this year, we are just bringing everything forward just a little bit earlier. Again, finance will prepare all the audit work papers for the external auditors. And during the week of September, they will be reviewing all of the internal controls, which are the same that we have in the city. since I have the same type of approvals that the city goes through for the Economic Development Corporation. I will be preparing all the narratives of all the processes that are in place for cash, payments on invoices, have the EDCs in compliance with the Public Investment Act and all items related to finances.
One question, Velia. So when we did the last audit, the timing was, I guess, kind of interesting because it was right when the EDC split again. So when the auditors looked at the controls, were they looking at the old ones? from
Okay,
what-
so the controls are, we always kept the same internal controls that we have in the city.
Okay,
So when we split right at the end of the year, and you are correct. So they were looking at everything, how it was done with the city. This time, they will be looking at who are the approvals, where, of course, it has changed, because before it was the city manager and the finance director, and of course, the warrants come signed by the board members. Most of the time, it has been you or any other member of the board. This time, the signatures have changed because no longer does the city manager or finance director signs the checks. I no longer have access to do any withdrawals or anything like that. So I will have to update all those narratives, because now we have that the signatures are the board members and the warrants are approved by the board members. And the warrants are prepared by the admin, and then they go forward to the executive director of the EDC or the assistant executive director, that they sign and they provide where do I have to charge those invoices. So all of that will be updated.
I guess this will be the first test of our new system, but I'm very confident that just the ones you mentioned are very, very strong.
Yes.
Okay, what is the desire of the board?
Dana, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to authorize the executive director to enter into agreement with Weaver and Tidwell LLP to perform the audit services for fiscal year 2019 for a total amount not to exceed $8,500.
Motion for approval by Joey,
I'll second that.
second by Jeremy. Is there any additional discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item H4, consideration and direction for posting and submission of applications for board positions vacated by Marcy Lowry in June 2019. Jonas Titus, Executive Director, Coppers Cove EDC.
Yes, this is just to inform you all on the process and ask if there's any questions. But for our vacant board position, there is a 40-day posting window, which we must, that's the time that we must post the agendas, post the applications for interested parties to submit applications. So if we open that today or tomorrow, then that 40-day window will take us into early September. And then those applications can be bundled and for either the September 17th or the October 1st city council meeting for action to be taken, and then sit on the board either at the last meeting in September or our October meeting. The term of that position does expire at the end of this fiscal year. So we'll work with council and city staff to make sure that all questions are answered, and we find a good person to serve on our board. And I think this will be an exciting time and an attractive position. So.
Any direction or questions from the board? All right. Moving on, reports from staff, outside entities, advisory committees, and boards. Ms. Dressel.
We just wanted to update on a couple of things that we've been working on. We are working on a new website. Jonas and I have met, through the phone, spoken to and kind of interviewed four different firms who do website development. And today we'll be making a selection and a phone call. Our new website will be a lot more user-friendly, and it'll have everything in one place. That'll be easier for the regular people to look at as well as site selectors. We'll have a demographics dashboard. We'll have a button that will it'll generate reports. We'll have a drive time map, a static map, and all the information will be right there for people. It'll also have a list of incentives, whether they're city, county, state, or I'm not going to say federal incentives, but it'll have all the information right there where you need it instead of having to dig for it, and it'll just be a nicer look. They're going to come and do some of the photography as well on some of the things, and I will get my video that I've been wanting. Okay, Jonas? The Narrows development standards, I don't know if you all remember, several months ago, you all looked over the development standards that we would like for the Narrows. Since then, we have met with the Planning and Review Committee because I sent them to Bobby Lewis and he looked at them and then he dispersed them to the various departments that are affected or have say about certain things like Public Works, the fire department and stuff like that, those departments. So they made some suggestions to us. We've changed them. I will be sending those to you all as soon as I get the last change that the fire department wanted, and then we will vote on and approve those hopefully at our next meeting so that we can have those recorded so that those are the official standards for the Narrows development. And in those, we want the tilt walls. We don't want metal buildings. We don't want portable buildings. And it'll have, because I don't think you've seen them, Jay, it'll have, standards for landscaping and standards for the fire lanes and the roadways and the sidewalks, for everything. So it has a nice, pleasing look when people drive through the business park. And it'll be kind of a uniform look as well. 2nd Street Update Building, you all know that it was scheduled for demolition. At the last minute, the company called me and told me that they weren't able to do that. I have since sent another RFQ out, a request for quote on that building. All of them are due to me by August 7th. So ideally, we would like to have that building demolished by October 1. And it shouldn't be a problem. I've already had 4 people interested in it, so that's where we are on that one. Questions?
Thank you, Diane.
You're now in the know.
Okay, items for future agendas. Discussion of date for future budget planning workshop and capital projects discussion. Jonas Titus.
Yes, this is a follow-up from our first workshop that we had last month. We identified a couple of projects that we think that we could help facilitate that would have a lot of value for our citizens and our community. But a lot of those projects cost substantial amounts of money. And we have talked about looking at where we stand in our future budgets as far as what our available funds will be. And what the impacts of these certain projects will be. So we need to schedule a time where we can think about this deliberatively and have a good action plan as far as when would be the best time to engage in certain projects. And we're working on a draft of a future capital budget that we can work within, and we're also going to be working with our financial advisor and but I think that this would be more fruitful if we do this outside of a normal meeting. And I know, Jay, you said that Fridays work best for you. And we didn't want to put this on, rush this into an agenda right away to give you all time to think about projects which you think should be a priority for us to engage on. And then we could sit together and I think have a very constructive discussion and set forth a 5 to 10 year plan of major things that we want this organization to work on. So, with that, I'll turn it over for any feedback, for any dates and times. I think probably sometime this late summer, early fall would be ideal, so that we can get to work and start adding value to our community.
You had mentioned some dates for when City Council would appoint a new board member. I think that would possibly go into October.
It could be their October. It would be either their second September meeting or their first October meeting.
It just seems to me that it'd probably be a good idea to have full board available. We could do it at some date after we have our new board member.
Okay. And will Fridays work for you still going into the school year?
Yeah.
Okay, and any other specific times for Joey or Jeremy that
Friday's
work best? Okay, well, we'll facilitate, we'll communicate via email, and also at our next meeting, and we'll stay in touch, and we'll find a good time that works for everybody.
All right, moving on to executive session. Pursuant to subsection 551.087 of the Texas Government Code, the Economic Development Corporation Board will meet in executive session for an update regarding the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect referenced as Project Coral. The time is now 12:21, and we will adjourn into executive session. All right, the time's 12:34, and I'll reconvene this regular meeting of the Coppers Cove EDC. We did complete executive session and no action was taken. But this time it is 12:34 and we are adjourned.
All right.